and driver of the number 15 Rahal Letterman Lanigan Honda. Graham Rahal, thank you for being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Do you ever wear the Rolex?
Not once.
No? Where is it?
Not once. It's in the safe at home. After the race, I had all my teammates, sign the watch or sign the box. I had Chip sign it. I had Carlos Slim, who was our sponsor, sign it with Telmex, I've never worn it, not one time. Never been adjusted. Still has the wrappers on it. I had this dream and this vision that I wanted to be the next Scott Pruitt and win it like 45 times, so that I could give one to my wife, give one to my daughters, do whatever. Scott's got 9 of them, I think. But obviously that hasn't happened.
It's not too late. We have people drive
back very much, so I'd love to go back and give it a shot.
Yeah, that's cool. This seems to be a trend with you because you seem to be a big collector. And I watched some old videos. There's one where you bought like one of the rarest Ducatis in the world, but you've never ever ridden it.
Yeah, actually, to my left right now in my office is all of them out on a display. Like, and if anybody ever comes to our campus in Zionsville to, what we call Graham Rahal brands, but GRP, Ducati, etc., you'll see them. They're on display, and so. I have, in fact, to my right, I can see some too that are in our main HQ in the office space. So, I do collect. I do have a long kind of approach and vision to certain things, but trust me, there's certain things that's not the case, and there's certain things I wear every day, I beat up every day. I have no sort of concern about that. But that I felt like Daytona for me, 24-hour, getting that Rolex, seeing winner on the back of it, like. That's a big deal, for everybody. And so, I just didn't think that was a watch I really wanted to abuse very much. Perhaps I should. I don't know.
Tangentially related, did you ever open the bottle of champagne that David Letterman gave you at 19 years old after your first race?
No, I think that's in here too somewhere in the office. No, I never opened it. And it's probably garbage right about now, but it's still pretty cool to have.
So I looked this up. Apparently, unopened non-vintage champagne typically lasts about 3 to 5 years, while unopened vintage champagne can last 5 to 10 or even longer, up to 20 years, depending on what grape it was and where it was, and if you stored it properly, which I don't think you did, because I saw a video of a home tour that you did like 11 years ago, and it was on a shelf that was probably getting a lot of sunlight during the day.
I was going to say it's directly in the sun. It's been in the sun a lot of its life. So no, it's definitely not. It's not stored right. That's for sure.
Okay, it's never going to be open.
It's cool to have.
Yeah,
and I still have the note with it.
Yeah,
which means a lot to me. So I've got it all.
That's so cool. Now you've been in this series for almost 20 years, which probably sounds wild to say. Over 300 starts, 6 wins, 5 poles, 33 podiums, 148 top tens, which is wild, almost a 50% rate of finishing in the top 10. But today I don't want to talk too much about your accolades on the track. I would love to talk about your business, Graham Rahal Performance. Some say it would be your side gig, but at this point it might be your main thing, and you might be driving INDYCAR on the side at this point.
Well, I try not to think about it that way. I remember, my dad always told me, and I've gotten a lot of hate, from the fans for that. They're like, oh, you're distracted. You've got all this other stuff going on. Fans got to recognize we live in a world. Racing can end at any point. Any point. I don't care if your last name's Rahal or Smith. It really doesn't matter. I mean, it's the truth, right? You get hurt, it's over. There's no guaranteed contracts. There's no guarantee of next year, even for somebody like myself. All of my sponsors, for instance, align with my contract. And guess what? They don't come back, I don't come back. And I know people don't think that. People believe, oh, Graham's just here as long as his dad wants to. That's not the truth. It's just flat out not the truth. And for me, when I built this business, it was with that in mind, that I had to be ready.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle that I want to live, the lifestyle that I'd like my family to live, that lifestyle requires a lot of hard work and commitment to saving money and taking care of my kids. And I could not achieve that, maybe for Colton Herta and Alex Palou, an IndyCar contract's good enough, or Newgarden or Dixon. But, for me, the reality was that, I had to do other things to achieve my dreams financially. And so I wanted to take advantage of it while my star had some shining brightness to it before things kind of, dissipated or disappeared. But, I've been very proud of what we built here. We got a lot of employees. We do, I'm not going to say the number, but, not, many, many, many millions of dollars worth of business every year. And in the country now and in the world, I deal with clients all around the world nowadays, which is very cool. It's cool to meet these people. It's cool to get to know what they do. It's cool to learn how they made their money. What did you do?
Right.
I invented the slinky or whatever it may be. It's cool to learn how people do things. And you'd be shocked. Some of our clients invented stuff that's not sexy whatsoever, but every building in America's got it or something, right? Like, that's what I love. That relationship and understanding people. So it's been a lot of fun.
I'm quoting a movie that you're probably not going to know, but to quote Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, my dad invented Post-it notes.
Exactly. You know how rich that guy would be. Yeah.
But you started in May 2020. You started Graham Rahal Performance in May of 2020 with 5 employees. As of 2 years ago, you had 74 employees. That was from an interview that you had with James Hinchcliffe. Where are you now?
Probably about the same on the employee count. That's not including the club. That's not including the restaurants, because I don't own the restaurant, but they're on sort of our campus. But, I think obviously people change. We have added a lot of technicians and things like that. We've added sales staff, so I'm not 100% sure. But that 74, 75 number is probably still very comparable. What's changed is our revenue across the board. We're up significantly. But, honestly, man, like, it's we've got our goods and our bads like anything, right? I mean, people see me pitching Ducatis and motorcycles on my social media all the time. It's because, that brand's been hard. Power sports through COVID went rampant. Everybody wanted to be outside. Everybody realized how awesome it is to ride a motorcycle again. They did it. But how quick our mind forgets, right? And then we transition to where we are now. It takes a hell of a lot of work. So we haven't seen a lot of growth in those areas, but we've seen a lot at Graham Rahal Performance and at Rahal Paint Protection. So those are the things I'm probably most proud of seeing, is just the way that we've evolved and how much better things have gotten.
Yeah. At this point, you're not a businessman. You're a business man.
Well,
who said that?
I don't know.
American wordsmith Jay-Z from the 2005 track.
You're going to get me on all these movies, whatever it is. Or Jay-Z.
Jay-Z from the 2005 track Diamonds from Sierra Leone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. You're gonna stump me on all those. My wife's always like, "Why are you so boring?" I'm like, "What do you mean I'm boring?" She goes, "All you do is work." I said, "Well, the only thing I want to watch on TV is Ohio State football, Blue Jackets hockey, and racing. The rest of it, you can have it." So
you grew up in Columbus, and I assume by proxy, everybody who grows up in Columbus, unless their kids or their parents went to another school, become de facto Ohio State fans, right?
Yeah.
How often do you make it out to see a game?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're the black sheep and then you're like Michigan, but that's you typically don't do that. I don't get to enough anymore. I used to go to a few a year, but now with the babies, it's a little hard. I mean, I would actually love to, I'd love to get them 2 games, in the near future, but I really haven't had the chance to do that yet. So, but someday,
for sure.
Someday soon.
Yeah. Aside from your many different businesses and a 2-decade-long career driving an IndyCar, this question comes directly from the interview that you had on Speed Street with Connor Daly. You seem to have an incredible insight for the business side of motorsport. And I was just so impressed with your takes on where IndyCar currently is and where it needs to go. And I guess my question is, have you always thought about the business side of motorsport? And if not, when did you start analyzing motorsport outside of just your role as a driver?
Well, I've always analyzed it because at the end of the day, racing, IndyCar racing is a form of entertainment, and most people think of it like that.
Mm-hmm.
People watch the NFL, right? Oh, I'm an NFL fan, so I just see it as a game. It's a sport. That's a big ass business.
Mm-hmm.
IndyCar racing is a big business. Not as big as NFL, of course, or whatever. But all of these things, for me, it's intriguing to figure out how the world goes around, how they work, how they financially benefit, how they financially struggle, why they struggle. But also, for me, I was always intrigued. I've always been intrigued by business, period. I think entrepreneurial mindset was something I had as a little kid, and I always tried to figure it out, right? My dad, when I was a little kid, used to tell me, that I could sell ice to an Eskimo, and I love that. I love trying to figure it out and, trying to figure out how to make something happen, make a deal happen. But, all of that being said, IndyCar for me, I just want it to succeed. And
Mm-hmm.
I was so focused on trying to figure out how, in what ways we could see a pattern of success. Because also keep in mind, as I tell a lot of these guys, my position is quite different, just because when I'm out of the seat, which won't be too far down the road, it's not like I'm going to be able to disappear. I'm not going to be able to pull, what a Buddy Rice, right? Where Buddy wins the 500 and then gone. That was always Buddy's personality, which I love. We all loved about Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Just the total Cali cool sort of guy, even though he's Phoenix. But anyway.
Also, I think he's the last person to win the 500 with the 15 car. Is that right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago. But, for me, I've got to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I do know is that I don't have the bank account that my dad does or my Mr. Lanigan does. And, the reality is for them that if we have a budget shortfall, sadly, if they needed to, they can put the cash flow in to do it, which they've had to do a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do that personally. Right. If we get to the end and it's like, hey, we're $1 million short, well, guess what? That ain't going to happen. And so, my mindset is how do we see this thing get better so that when I'm in that role, I don't have to worry about that stuff, because I want this thing to last forever. Yeah. And so that's why I started to think that way. I think most drivers don't have to, because when they're done, off they go.
Right.
They go into coaching, they can do a variety of different things. But, I won't have that ability. So that's why I think I think about it a little bit differently. And then the last part is it's just simply this. I legitimately care. I love this sport. I grew up a massive fan of the sport. I want the sport to be successful. And so, let's be real. A lot of these guys, like Alex Palou, some of these guys, I'm not going to put words in their mouth because I don't know, but I doubt growing up in Spain that his dream was I idolize IndyCar racing and I want to see it's developed.
His dream was not to put it on pole at Mid-Ohio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, dude, I saw this news about Cleveland, right? That's a dream. That is something I've been wanting to see for decades to come back. I love that place. So that is exciting to me. But Alex has probably never even seen a race at Cleveland or knew that we raced in Cleveland, or maybe doesn't even know what the hell Cleveland, Ohio is, frankly. But for me, that's a big thing. So I just wanted to, I just want to see it be successful. That's really what it comes down to.
You've talked about career moves that drivers make when they pivot after stepping away from the series as a driver. Have you ever shown any interest in broadcasts?
I mean, not really.
No.
I'll do it though if it's asked upon me.
You joked with James Hinchcliffe that you wanted Townsend Bell's spot when he.
Yeah, I'm going to steal Townsend's job. Yeah.
How many people on the IndyCar grid do you think want James, Will, and Townsend's job?
Probably Connor.
Connor's good though. Connor's really good.
There's probably not a ton, to be honest with you, but what Jack has done too has been awesome, right? Jack,
he's been great.
So good. So that makes a lot of, and you know what? the fans can appreciate people who actually know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, and Townsend definitely does.
Yeah.
But, guys that have lived it, experienced it, no strategy. Like, dude, if I were to do one thing during a broadcast, like talk about strategy more, like inform people, right? Inform them, like, what's going on? Why is this guy stopping now? What's he doing then? Like, but you have to have lived in that moment and been through that to be able to knowledgeably do that, speak about that and talk people through it. I think people would love that.
Yeah, for sure. Now you said 2 years ago that the succession plan was for you to possibly take over RLL in the future. Where's your head at now? Is that still something you want for yourself? And do you think you'll want to put all your time into GRP when you eventually decide to step away from IndyCar?
No, it's like my dad, right? Like, we've got the car dealership group, and the car dealership group feeds the mouths of those at RLL, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the way the pattern kind of is. The car dealership group provides the stability that if there's a rainy day, as we call it in our family, that we can be able to support, our staff to make sure. Remember, RLL was, I think, the only team during COVID that never cut pay or furloughed anybody.
Wow.
We had full pay, never laid a single person off, and we kept rolling.
That's incredible.
And so why are we able to do that is because of our owners and because of the backbone that the owners have. And that's our responsibility, is to make sure that we can do that for our folks, and it'll be the same for me. So, to that end, that's where, ultimately I hope GRP can get to. And so GRP can be the backbone and the stability for my interests, so to speak, in RLL down the road.
Cool. Now, as everybody knows in the IndyCar space, you are very active on social media. You reply to a lot of comments and tweets. Now,
there's a lot of dumbasses out there. I mean, it's that simple.
That's a great segue to my next question. Now, when you refer to people as keyboard warriors, are you referring to anyone with a smartphone and an opinion, or are we talking about a highly trained militia in the jungle, but instead of holding weapons, they're holding computer accessories?
There's a little bit of both there. There's some highly trained individuals sitting behind keyboards. But to be frank, like I said, there's just some people who are just have no effing clue what they're talking about.
Sure.
And
myself included.
Those are the people I can't help but respond to. The reality is, I'll guarantee you this, I could care less, but I literally read and I'm like, all my mind thinks is, you're an effing idiot. And I'm going to tell you that you're an idiot. Like, I don't care. I just, I can't help myself. My wife sometimes, she's like, hey, do you really have to say that? I'm like, yeah, I did.
I will say you definitely have a tendency to clap back, but you do tend to do it in a fairly civil manner. Like, you don't go scorched earth on people.
Used to be more malicious.
Okay.
But now to me, it's like, dude, look, we recognize this, right? If somebody thinks, particularly nowadays, if people think down one path, it's pointless to try to even have a conversation, because it's just not gonna change. But I have discovered that my favorite thing in the entire planet is the block button, officially. And, it does make you feel a hell of a lot better when you just click, boop, and they disappear forever.
You never have to interact with that person again.
But the truth is, lately I'm not as active because I haven't even looked at Twitter today, to be honest, or X, whatever. Because I just don't have the time anymore. Yeah. I do like to, scroll through Instagram and check out cars and, whatever. But yeah, man, there's just some people you can't help but just read and go, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I can't help but fire right back. So it is what it is.
Sure. I would love to segue a little bit and talk about becoming a father. You became a father just 5 years ago, and I would love to, now you have two young daughters. I would love for you to sort of expand on how you feel like becoming a dad changed your perception on racing and on life.
Well, it definitely changes perception of racing a little bit. Obviously racing's a dangerous sport, and you want to make sure you're there for your kids. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. More so, it changes your perspective because racing requires 100% commitment, 100% focus, and a lot of time away from home.
Yeah.
And so for me, this summer, for instance, summer of 25, we raced 8 out of 9 weekends. And my kids really, because Court was far along enough in her pregnancy, she couldn't travel as easily or as much. And so, I was on the road a lot, by myself. And, you start to think about those things like, hey man, like my girls recognize, my girls know when dad's gone. My girls, they don't like it at all, and you miss things. You miss a lot in their lives. And some people are okay with that. Some people don't care really, right? They just, was what I've got to do to provide for my family, so I'm going to go do it. Other people, and I think where I'm a little different is I lived that with my dad. My dad was gone all the time. I mean, I don't remember him a whole lot in my childhood. I just don't. And I think my siblings would say the same. And the only thing I can say is it's this simple. I don't want to be that guy. My kids. I think, my kids, particularly with all, we kind of just touched on it, with all the bullshit that's in the world these days, you've got to protect them. You've got to be around there. You've got to make sure they're in school safe. You got to make sure all of these things happen, which is sad to even think some of the things that you got to think, but let alone be a good father figure, good parents to them, be active with them, and so for me, we're good, right? We're good now. I'm not stopping tomorrow, so to speak. But there is part of me that's like, hey, you know what? At some point, you've got to be a good father first. And so racing in many ways eliminates that ability. That's just the truth. It does. And so, I would say that's a big part of it. I think, my commitment to racing has been is unwavering for my whole life too. That's what people don't realize about us. Like, we don't know any other, like if you take any race car driver and you make them stay at home for a month, they're probably like, what? Like, I've never done this. Like, since I was 10, I haven't done this. So COVID, actually, that was the weirdest part of COVID for me personally. I had never been in my home for 6 weeks straight. Not once. And so it was a very strange situation for me to go through. But, I love my girls. I got another baby, some boy, girl, I don't know, but another one coming here shortly.
Congratulations.
And, I'm excited about it.
That's awesome. I watched an interview from 2014 where you and your wife, Courtney Force, were being interviewed at an NHR race. It was the U.S. Nationals. And I think you were dating around that time. It was about a year before y'all got engaged.
Yeah.
Jump to 2015 where I see this local Indianapolis news story about y'all getting married. Did you guys get engaged in Venice, Italy?
Yeah.
Did you propose to her in the Piazza San Marco?
Dude, I was on a gondola, which by the way, sounded really freaking, romantic and everything else. The weather was absolute dog, you know what? It was awful.
No.
It was cold. It was rainy. So then we're getting towards the end of the gondola ride, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to do it. I got to do it now. I got to do it now. I got to do it. We come around this corner, and it's pitch black. There's rats crawling around everywhere. There's dumpsters. I mean, fencing with dumpsters full of trash. Like, do I just bail out? Like, do I just not do this? And in the end, like, right before we got back to the hotel, I just, in the gondola, get on my knee, ask the question. Definitely more nerve-wracking than driving the Indy 500. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
at least now.
I actually proposed to my wife in Venice at night as well.
Nice.
We were
Did you do it in the plaza area or whatever.
We did it in the Piazza San Marco at like midnight, and we were the only people there. And
let's say you made it. You waited because you didn't want the pressure, so you waited for everybody to clear out.
Yeah, we were on like a long trip to Europe, and I'd been carrying the ring around. I'd like hid it in a sock. And I was so nervous the entire time. I'm like, what if someone's going to break into our hotel room or like someone steals it or whatever? And then I was like, let's go on a walk tonight. And I like took the box and I wore like baggy clothes so I could like hide the shape of the box.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so funny when I saw you guys got engaged in Venice.
Yep. Same spot. See, we're cliche. No,
I love it.
You do.
But everyone is looking for something different in a partner. But how important was it for you to have someone like Courtney in your life who has such a similar background and shared experience coming from these iconic racing families and iconic racing dynasties. How important it was to have someone who understood your career and your lifestyle, and also how important do you think that was for Courtney as well?
Yeah, I think, for both of us to have an understanding of what it was all about was certainly a leg up.
Yeah.
There's always challenges to it, right? I mean, any relationship, you're going to have the same battles, whether, challenges, whether you're both from, families of notoriety or not. For Court and I, the blessing was that we really understood what each other were going through. We had a great shoulder to lean on when it came to pressure.
Mm-hmm.
When Courtney in her career had a very successful career, but she had one bad year that was just brutal. They couldn't get out of their own way and whatever. And, the amount of hatred she got on social media and the amount of stuff that you read and whatever. I mean, I could relate. So I knew, and same, unfortunately, we both never had good years together. My really strong years were years that she kind of struggled. 2018 was her last year, which was a great year, and it wasn't so great for us on our team. So, it would have been fun to be able to celebrate together and do all of that. But no, I mean, it's always been a blessing to have, that baseline knowledge and understanding. It is difficult though at times, and Court will tell you this too. We are from very different backgrounds at the same time. I'm a Midwestern guy. She's Southern California.
Yeah.
We're kind of pulled in many different ways. Our families are very far apart. But, at the end of the day, we've been able to have two wonderful little girls, and so it's been a blessing for us. And, she loves going to the track. The girls love going to the track. So when that opportunity is there, it's always pretty sweet to be able to do all those things together.
That's awesome. I have some rapid fire questions. Do you have 5 more minutes?
Fire.
Okay, great. An 18-year-old Graham Rahal said in an interview on ESPN2 that he firmly believed you do not need as much talent to drive on ovals. Do you still feel that way?
I do.
Okay. Okay, fair.
What you need is bravery. You need, cojones. and maybe not so much up here sometimes.
Yeah. What is your favorite IndyCar track that you've driven that is not Belle Isle?
Road America.
Okay.
The best. But I'd go back to Belle Isle tomorrow, I'll tell you that.
What was in the water that weekend?
I don't know. I had like 5 podiums there. I got a couple trophies right there from Belle Isle. So Belle Isle is a good one for me. I like that place.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever signed?
Oh, I've signed a baby's forehead in Milwaukee.
That's straight talenting nights right there.
Baby, Milwaukee 2009. Very uncomfortable.
It's very possible that baby went right to the tattoo parlor and had
I hope not.
ink put over.
For that kid's sake, I hope not.
What is the weirdest DM you've ever gotten from a fan?
Oh, I've had I can't think of anything specific.
Okay.
But I've had people say some weird stuff. There's some creepy individuals in this world, for sure.
Okay. All right. Noted. This is a hypothetical situation. If you were driving in a karting race today that was weight corrected against a 9-year-old, would you win, and by how much? If so, by how much?
If it was weight corrected, yes.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, karting was never really weight corrected for me. So I was always a tank running around with these little guys.
Okay, fair enough.
But depending on their experience, like if they're an unexperienced 9-year, you're going to smoke them.
Sure.
If they're experienced and good, it's going to be a tight battle.
All right.
Sure.
Speaking of battles, this is a follow-up to that. You're going wheel to wheel with a 9-year-old in a karting race. Are you giving them space, or are you pushing them off the track?
I probably push them because they probably won't really understand how to push back that well. Yeah.
Felix Rosenquist said they need to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got to teach. They don't know. Well, I said they don't know yet. They don't know how to come back on. Whereas like if I push like Pato around, I know it's going to fire right back at me. So
sure.
which he's about the size of a 9-year-old. So it's kind of similar, you know.
Aside from your team or any of the pit crews at RLL, which pit crew do you think would assemble IKEA furniture the fastest?
I feel like Pelot's would be, well, any of the Penske teams, but I feel like Pelot with Ricky. Ricky's like that guy, the Chiefs, a pro over there, and they're like a Swiss watch right now. So those guys, I feel like they'd probably do a pretty damn good job.
Love it. You're going on a road trip with any 3 IndyCar drivers currently on the grid. Who's in your car with you?
Currently on the grid. I will definitely take Connor because he's just a total goof, and like at least there'd be some entertainment. Although sometimes you just want to like put a muzzle on him and just, you know, maybe he'll fall asleep for a little bit in the back.
Yeah.
I would definitely take. I think I would take Will. If you need entertainment value and you want to hear the most random shit you've ever heard in your life, you hang out with Will Power.
Yeah.
Very deep and methodical in his thinking, but kind of out there too.
Yeah.
And then I would probably right now take actually Marcus Armstrong.
Oh, I like that.
Just to hear about his life and what his latest adventures are is always pretty good.
I interviewed Marcus Armstrong, and I was so surprised at how philosophical he was.
Very much so.
Yeah. Just the fact that he's an athlete and being his age. I'm not trying to like generalize people right now, but I was surprised with a lot of the answers he gave.
He's very worldly. He's been around a lot. So yeah. He's a pretty funny guy.
Who is the most famous person in your phone? Would it be David Letterman?
Yeah. Probably on a worldwide scale. Yeah, Dave's definitely up there.
Okay.
I've texted back and forth with Steph Curry a few times, but he's almost impossible to get a response from, so I stopped trying about 5 years ago.
You ever played golf with him?
No, but that's what we were trying to do, is link up to play golf. Because we had met at Sonoma Race a bunch of years ago, and we used to go up to Lake Tahoe in the summer, and so did we. So, you know, we had tried to link up, and it never happened. But he's a hell of a player.
I know Christian Lundgaard mentioned that he feels you are probably the best golfer on the grid right now.
Yes.
You're like, yeah, no question about it.
Right now. But I play 2 rounds a year.
Yeah.
And he and Scotty Mack, they play a lot. But it is cool now because you got Christian, you got Scotty Mack, you got, you've got Rossi, you've got Ericsson, you got Connor, you got like a load of guys are learning to play. And I mean, Wickens has been, using that machine and been able to swing some clubs. Like for me, there's a load of guys trying. Whereas like when I first came into this, man, nobody played. Nobody. Like at all. So yeah, it's cool.
While you're working really long hours, do you ever give yourself time to like sort of zone out and watch TV or movies? Are there any TV shows that you've binged recently? No? Business never sleeps. All right.
You know what I do? I sit, if I need an escape, I turn on YouTube and just listen to music videos. That's my one thing. And I can waste a good couple hours doing nothing but that.
What genre of music?
I'm more of a country guy now.
Okay.
I feel like country when I was a kid was like country, like hillbilly country. Nobody really listened to it. And then, I was talking to Scotty Borchetta, who obviously a big machine. Like he was telling me just the way that music over time, has changed. And so, pop becomes more rap. And when that happens, country becomes more pop. And therefore, which is what it is now, people that listen to country now are like, that's not country. But that's the kind of swing of the pendulum. And so for me, I would say I've turned that way a little more. Like Luke Combs, dude, I don't think there's a better musician than Luke Combs. I mean, Post Malone, who's not country, but now that's kind of what he's doing. Man, the talent level's unreal.
Would you say that a country genre would be like your go-to karaoke genre of music? Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
You really don't want to hear me sing, dude. That's not even my girls, like my daughters. I was singing something today. She was like, "Dad, just stop." I was like, "Oh, thank you."
I love it. Cool. Well, Graham, I know you're a busy person. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk. Man. Graham Rahal, driver of the number 15 Rahal Letterman Lanigan Honda. Great talking to you today.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Cool.